You're currently listening to the voice of Raven. That's me. What's up?
And I'm an interrupting cow. Moo.
Moo
My name,
moo.
my name is Mark, and I am your other co-host. Welcome to the show.
Wee.
Hello.
That gets stuck in my head so frequently where I'm just like, hello.
I feel like that's probably one of those like weird things from your childhood where you're just like, yes, absolutely. This is stuck with me now, and I will use it forever. Um,
I would just like to note, I don't think I've ever actually watched Mrs. Doubtfire, which is,
that's hilarious.
yeah, everyone just knows, of course, the classic Robin Williams, uh, thingy. What do you call that thing? Uh, Character. Jeez,
Yes.
Louise.
Wow, boy, we went all the way around the block and back for that, didn't we?
This brain is uh on that hamster mode, but that hamster is not running right now. It'll work. It just needs to get into it for a second. What's going on? How you doing, my main
Oh
man?
man. I mean, it feels like these past 3 weeks like the only thing separating my weeks now are these podcasts where it's just I start on Monday and then the next thing I know it's Friday and I'm like, where in the hell did my week go? Um it's just wake up, go to work, come home, do a few things, go to bed.
True.
Uh, you know. So,
I feel
yeah.
you on that.
It's they've all been kind of running together. So, yeah, not really a whole lot. I mean, you know,
At least the weather's getting nice.
the weather
That's like
is getting
the
nice.
one thing that you're just like, you know what? Maybe it is worth it.
I
Maybe
mean,
I
we're
can continue on.
I mean, we're in pollen season right now, so I don't know really how I feel about that.
Hate it.
I'm kind of like, eh.
Yeah, no, I woke up this morning and I was feeling really nice, so I went to go get us breakfast at a little bagel place here, and I go there so frequently. So when I like walked up, this girl that like is always there when I go, I was like, "Oh, I like your like sweater shirt thing that she was wearing," but it came out so gross because I think that was like the first words that I had said, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. That allergy season is so bad right now." She was like, I feel that. So, yeah. Make sure you wake up and say a few things before you see your coworkers. Otherwise, you're just going to be like, "Hello." And then you feel embarrassed.
I've absolutely done that before,
Yeah.
and it is crazy when when yeah, can I have a chicken biscuit? Yeah,
I promise I do talk properly when spoken to.
and you're like, why is my voice doing weird things?
You going back through puberty.
Yeah.
Mark, you're finally hitting adulthood. I'm so proud of
Hooray, I can't wait till I grow up.
you. God.
Why do I have hair in weird places?
Well, son, I'm gonna let your mother tell you all about that. I'm gonna go upstairs, tinker outside with the lawnmower, you know, guy stuff.
Cool.
Cool, cool.
Oh man. All right, I gotta talk to you about this shit because this is something the algorithm has turned me on to this week, and I'm like, okay, well now I have to watch it and see what it's all about. Have you heard about the documentary that's sweeping the nation right now called Quiet on Set? It's about kid
Oh
actors and
yeah,
Nickelodeon. Dude, dude.
yeah. I
Uh,
haven't watched it. What's it on?
I think it's on Max.
Okay.
Um, uh, yeah, I watched it online. It is. Oh, it's so wild. I am about there's 4 episodes. I am about 2 episodes in, and let me tell you something. Um, it is it's one of those things where you're like, oh man, this is horrible, but at the same time you're like, this is what I suspected was going on. But no one's ever, even though like all the rumblings have been there for years, like this is the first time they've actually like exposed it.
Yeah. No.
And yeah, a couple things to note: Dan Schneider is a horrible, horrible person, and never ever should have been let around kids. Um, and there was a bunch of other people that definitely should have never ever been around kids, and it is wild when you look back on stuff that they show that you're just like, oh man, I don't even know. The kind of like one of the big things that they've talked about is in the next episode that I'm going to watch is where they kind of break down like Drake Bell
Oh
really
yeah.
getting assaulted, and the the person who did that, like they're talking to these other kid actors who were on the shows, and they don't have the likes of Miranda Cosgrove or Victoria Justice, or you know they were they were minor stars. Let's put it like that. Like they didn't have the career that like Miranda Cosgrove had, and Josh Peck and all these other people. So they have these minor stars, and they're talking to them, and they're just like, no, like it was. There were parts of it that it was fun because we were kids and we were in this great place, but also there were times when it was horrible.
Yeah.
Um, and then when they start talking about like assault and stuff like that at the end of the second episode, they're talking to one of the directors, and I think this might even be in the trailer. They say something like, "Yeah, but that didn't. Yeah, they arrested that guy, but that didn't happen on one of our shows, did it? Like that wasn't an actor on one of our shows." And
Oh.
like, yeah, it was. Like, well, who was it? And all of a sudden, here comes Drake walking in and sits down, and I'm like, oh my god, um, it's wild.
Yeah. Well, in the book that Jeanette McCurdy wrote, she like slightly touches on it and stuff like that. And I had definitely known about this stuff for like years because I was definitely big into Nickelodeon, and when their contracts and stuff were done, and then they were like, "All right, let's like figure our life out and then start bashing this man." I was like, "Oh my god." So like when you look back to like Amanda Bynes, you're like, "Yeah, I can understand why she had her moments of absolute mayhem and stuff like that." It's so
Yep.
tragic to look at. Ugh.
And it's even crazier when, like, as I've been describing this to people this week, I'm like, man, it's so fascinating. But Dan Snyder, the guy who's responsible for like iCarly and you know all that and all of these other shows that you know we grew up with, that he essentially got in trouble but never legally, and then just disappeared. Like he's sitting somewhere. I guarantee you he's still getting royalty checks unless this man has somehow spent all of his money, which there's no telling. But, they basically just fired him and go away. Swept it all under the rug, and
Bro, that's
and he
awful.
he's he's done that thing. He's done that thing where uh he it's like he knew exactly what he could and could not do,
Yeah.
and pushed it exactly to the line. Like by the letter of the law, did he do anything illegal? No. Is he a creep? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ugh. I hate
It's
hearing stuff like that about like young kids that you know. They have no idea what's going on. Their parents are just like, "Oh, you want to be famous? I want you to be famous. Make us some money, whatnot." And then what goes on behind doors and stuff that you're just like, "I'm supposed to trust this person." Ugh, so awful.
Yeah, it's simultaneously fascinating, heartbreaking. It's great, great television, but at the same time, it's horrible to watch. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh no,
So
absolutely. I listen to so much true crime stuff, and the amount of times that, like, if they start bringing up something like family members doing stuff like this, I'm always just like, oh no, Jesus. And then, it's just one of those things that you hope you never have to, like, encounter someone that
yeah,
has, like, dealt with that. But it's like, you always have to now watch out for the signs of it and stuff.
yeah, and I, there has to be a point now where Nickelodeon and Disney Channel and all of these other kid shows are held to an obscenely higher standard.
Yeah,
You know, there is nothing they can say or do to where they can be like, oh yeah, you know, we can. You can't go back to the way it was even 10 years ago, because you know Jeanette McCurdy or Ariana Grande and all of these other people, like because I pulled up like Dan Schneider's IMDb just to see when he still had shows in production that he was responsible for, and the the kind of like his last producer tag I think was maybe 2018. Is that right? Yeah, maybe
ugh.
2014, maybe 2014 because he produced a bunch of shows, maybe 15.
Yeah, I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
he was.
It's
It was like that time around like the Sam and Cat era, and like
yeah.
whatever that Victoria Justice show was, something like
y-
that. Yeah,
Yeah, and there's so it's so weird to judge like whether or not if he's involved in a show just by name alone because it involves people that he
right.
um like a show that he produced or that he created and he's still like legally supposed to be the executive producer on the show. So, you know, it's weird. It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah,
So so yeah, I mean it's so wild and ironically for a man who was ultimately at the center of all of this controversy, uh, I would imagine that he would come out and be like, I did nothing. But he's been surprisingly quiet. So,
honestly, I feel like I'm not surprised by him just hiding in the shadows at this point.
yeah,
It's gross, but
it's
like
terrible.
action needs to be taken to get this man in so many ways.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross.
All right.
Speaking
On
of
to,
shows,
yeah.
did
What you
you
got?
did you watch what I talked to you about? Did you watch X-Men 97?
Oh, I haven't watched it. I've been busy since last night when you called me a nerd. Uh, no, I've watched a little bit of the first episode, and then the kids came home and were like, "We're gonna do everything in the living room right now. We're gonna play VR, and we're gonna do this and that, and blah 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 blah." blah. I'm like, "Come on, man! Y'all have been fine, and it left to your own devices until I wanted to watch this thing, and then all of a sudden it was like, yes, everything, everywhere, all in the living room."
Yeah, that
So,
sounds about right for kid life, man. That's all I ever expect from. I don't even care how old your kids are. That's just what I expect. You have kids living in your house, that's the life.
yeah, that pretty much it.
So, from the little bits that you did you watch the OG X-Men show?
What's that?
Did you watch like the original X-Men show?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did,
So,
and I loved it, and I really liked that they were very kind of true aesthetically to the original X-Men show. And I
Yeah.
like that. You know, I'm very much a sucker for traditional animation, and this looks like the kind of thing where they were like, yes, uh, traditional animation, and if we do use computers, it's going to be used sparingly and probably in the right place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
So I can't wait to sit down uh, and actually really get some time with it, which may be this evening. So
Ooh. Yeah, I know that I definitely like watched some of the original show because it probably came on TV and I was just like, yeah, okay, I'll watch this because that's what I was. I was definitely like, we didn't have iPad kids when I was growing up, but I probably would have been one, and that's a little sad to me sometimes. But I was definitely like one of the kids that was like, I love TV. And so I watched anything that was like cartoons and stuff like that. Uh Watching the show was really nice because I was like, um, I definitely had more of like the picture of like the Hugh Jackman style movies and like how things were supposed to be there. And so as I
mm-hmm.
was watching it with Chris, I was like, "Well, wait, I thought this stuff." And then he'd be like, "No, no, no, no. This is like actual lore and stuff that goes on within like the regular show and the comics and stuff like that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So it was definitely really good for it to want to keep my attention because I feel like sometimes with like superhero shows, I'm just like, yeah, 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 same thing, same thing. But
Yeah.
I did really enjoy the animation of it. It did seem like that classic style. And honestly, I love the fact that Wolverine is just this grumpy old man, just like, yeah, whatever. I'll just do my thing. Because that's not what I was expecting. I was expecting, like I said, Hugh Jackman style of like, I'm a buff 40-something-year-old man just out here getting the ladies. And then instead it feels like some old guy in his 60s that's just like, God, I have to keep saving these idiots. Ugh, I just want to smoke my marbles and drink my Budweiser while I watch football. That's what
You
his
know,
character feels like.
the older I get, the more I relate to that. I don't want to be around these kids.
Man, I
Shut
can't
up, let
blame
me
you.
watch football.
No.
Um, so did you? Well, I already know the answer to this, so we'll just go ahead and get into this. What did you think of the Beetlejuice trailer?
So I watched it, obviously, right before we started recording because the original Beetlejuice is one of my favorite movies. And with sequels that come, however many years, I don't even remember when the first Beetlejuice movie
Oh,
actually came
this.
out. Was that the 80s or 90s?
Oh, I don't know. I'm about to pull it up, but this has to
So,
be at least 30 years.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. So for it to be 30 plus years, I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I'm going to watch it. While I love Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, it's just like one of those things that I'm like, I don't, we'll see. So,
35 years.
nice. Okay. So that, I guess that makes sense. That they'd be like, it's kind of an anniversary, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. It was good. It had one of our favorite little stars that is popping in the industry right now. Little what's her name? I always
Jenna Ortega.
Yes, I always forget Jenna Ortega's name. But yes, that kid is popping in this industry currently. But to see Lydia Dietz grown up is very interesting. To see her classic little aesthetic as an adult
Yeah.
is intriguing. But so far it looks really good. from that little snippet. What'd you think about it?
I think when I watched Wednesday, the first thing I thought was if they ever reboot Beetlejuice, Jenna Ortega is going to be absolutely perfect to be in it.
Fair.
Scoop.
Yeah.
Um, and here we are. So yeah, no, I think it has the chance to be a very fun movie. Um, so Tim Burton's kind of hit or miss, but seeing as how this is like one of those franchises or whatever that is just drips and oozes Tim Burton esque, this might actually be a fun kind of movie. As long as I don't know, there's kind of like this weird balance that I don't want Beetlejuice to do, where he's like, where he'll make like a kind of a joke that may or may not be offensive just because it's just like, hey, I'll do it, brr, like, or make like a Donald Trump joke or something,
Yeah.
just kind of like that low hanging derp, what I call derp jokes that are like very prevalent in all those weird parody movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I just don't want Michael Keaton or Beetlejuice to like kind of fall into that. But I have faith in him, so I'll give him the chance. Plus, I really like Winona Ryder and Jenna Ortega. So, yeah.
True. Absolutely true. I just looked at it, and Michael Keaton is 72 years old.
Jeez.
So I'm like, I wonder how, Beetlejuice was definitely very, like, hops around and does all his crazy shit and whatnot. So I'm intrigued to see how Michael Keaton's moving around.
I really hope we don't get like an overt use of CGI. But
Yeah,
I
it
think
might just be like a bunch of, like, stunt doubles doing a bunch of stuff for him.
maybe, but I want to say that they finished shooting this right around the time the strike happened.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see, man. I mean, it comes out in September, I think. So,
the anticipation will now start to kill me.
man, I can't believe Michael Keaton's 72 years old.
Right? I knew. I was like, because people had been talking about it for so, like, I feel like the Beetlejuice 2 sequel was, like, talked about for, like, the last 5 years, honestly. Um, and when, like, it was actually, like, really talked about, like, hey, it's probably going to get made, I was like, I know that man is old.
I can't believe this man was almost 40 when he did Batman.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
what the hell?
He's a
Jeez.
true connoisseur of the actor.
Oh man. All right. Well, you ready to get into it?
Let's roll it out.
Let's roll out. I don't know if we can say that cuz that's a Transformers thing.
Hey, I was going to bring up Transformers anyway, so.
All right. All right. Well, this week, I promise we're going to talk about Hobbs and Shaw this week because that's our movie of the week. And seeing as how last week I said what I thought about it first, I'm going to ask Raven. Raven, please tell me what you thought of Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
I'm going to be real with you. I don't remember what you said last week, so this will be interesting. Um, I know that we were, like, talking about it and how they could be, like, a good little paired up duo because The Rock is big buff meaty man that can just do whatever, and then what's his name?
Jason Statham?
Yes, Jason Statham is slim, doing all the, like, spy tricks and whatnot. And I was like, okay, I can see this being a really good, fun duo if it's not, like, you know, annoying about it. and I found it a little annoying. their their constant bickering. I was like, bro, give it up. Just I get it. You guys hate each other, but we're working on a mission, my man. Um, it was definitely an interesting movie. I when the whole like thing where she gets the virus in her hand, she's like, I've had it for about 30 hours. And he was like, cool. You have 42 hours until it goes live or whatever and you start feeling bad. That was a crazy 12 hours that you had there, ma'am. Wait, is it 12? Am I crazy? Yeah, 12 hours of like Jason Statham being like, "Yeah, we've got a whole day." And I'm like, "What?" So yeah, there's just a few little things that I was like, I don't know about this. We definitely got our superhero straight up on in this movie with
Oh
Idris
yeah, we
Elba.
did.
So I know we'll definitely talk about that. Definitely not. This was definitely like more of a spy movie, obviously, than fast cars going vroom vroom. But I'm gonna say it's not. It's not up there. It's not in the
Yeah,
top three of the Fast and Furious franchise.
yeah.
And I haven't watched the rest of the movies, so we'll see how that
Oh,
goes. So, Mark,
yes,
this this was your first time watching it?
yes, it
Okay.
was. Um, I'm kind of right there with you. Like it was fine. It's a very by the numbers action movie. There's I don't feel like they necessarily broke the mold, especially coming off of watching all of these Fast and Furious movies. Um, and I guess again because we're mainlining them, like maybe our perception is a little bit skewed. But right now, like seven is such a high, 6 and 7 particularly are such a high mountain to climb, and this movie didn't really do it because again, like you said, I got frustrated with them bickering all the time, and then um, they're literally the first note that I have in my notes is the opening scene is great because now we have just graduated to full on superheroes instead of hiding behind a family. There, like, we legitimately, these people are superheroes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We are just we got two strong, fast, nimble people with another lady who's strong, fast, and nimble, with a person who literally has a metallic spine. Um, it's so wild that this is where we're at in the franchise. And what's even more wild, as you kind of touched on a little bit last week, is with the next couple of movies in the mainline Fast and Furious franchise, we just abandoned all kinds of like we are just straight up just superheroing it out.
Yeah.
We don't yeah, like we have just gone we have jumped the shark a little bit, and it's a weird feeling because at this point you kind of know what to expect, but um this is I don't know, it's fine. It's good background action movie type stuff. Like I can have it on the background, not be upset, but at the same time, like I don't think I'm going to actively set out to put it on.
Yeah.
Um,
That's fair. Well, let's
so
get to it.
yeah,
I
let's.
I agree with you on that like little opening scene montage. That was kind of fun. I
It
kind of
it
enjoyed it.
was, and I think for like the whole of this movie, like if we look at it separated from the rest of the Fast and Furious franchise, and as its own separate movie, then where we just kind of already know the characters, but just its own separate movie with its own separate set of rules, it makes it vastly more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So because it's absurd, but it kind of maintains that absurdity, where you're just like, okay, cool, like yes, they can do this kind of cool stuff because of course he's a superhero. He's some type of weird cyborg that'll hopefully get explained later.
Was
So
is Vin Diesel? not like connected to this movie in any way because
Let me
I don't see
see.
him as director or writer.
Let's see if he's listed as a producer.
Because I was like, maybe that's why.
No, he is not connected at all.
Dang. They were like, hey man, we'll take the reins on this one. You don't even have to like think about The Rock. And he was like, sounds good.
Well, this was right after Fast 8 when The Rock very publicly was like, I don't like these Fast and Furious movies anymore.
Oh,
So this was literally right on the heels of that, and then they did Hobbs and Shaw, and he wasn't there for. He wasn't in 8, was he? Was he
no,
in 8?
he was not.
Okay, so he wasn't in 8, and then he wasn't in 9 because John Cena took over the Rock role in 9. So he, yeah, he was off doing Hobbs and Shaw.
Okay.
No,
Hobbs is over there being a dad now.
he is.
He's doing the Brian thing. All right.
Did they ever explain, because I know like one of the first scenes that we see is Jason Statham going to talk to Queenie, Helen Mirren, Queenie in prison, and she's talking about how she could get out and do all this stuff. Did she get arrested in Fast 8?
Uh, I want to say she did, but I might be like crazy on that, to be honest. Maybe it was just like kind of implied that like she was just she was just doing her thing,
Yeah,
stealing
she
some
was.
silly stuff.
Yeah, and they never mentioned. I guess maybe because they couldn't get. Uh, God, I want to call him Luke Wilson, not Luke Wilson. The other Shaw.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
They couldn't get him back, and maybe that's why they cast Vanessa Kirby as his sister, because they make no mention of the other brother, hardly at all in this movie. And that was kind of weird to me.
Did he technically die? In whichever movie it was that he was like in critical condition, I can't remember.
What's that? Say that again.
Uh, did his brother technically die when it was like, you know, when Jason Statham came on the scene and he's like, "I'm here for vengeance of my brother," or blah blah
No,
blah blah.
no, because that was 7,
Okay.
and then in 8, both of them infiltrate the plane to
Oh
save
yeah,
little
yeah,
Brian.
yeah. That's right. Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. This is so like, again, we're with the timeline here. Like, you can't really connect it. I don't know. It's hard for me to separate them, but we're here.
All right.
So, all right.
Yo,
So,
his mom was looking good in
yo,
a
Helen
in a
Mirren,
prison outfit
yes,
because you
ma'am.
know good and well none of that stuff that she had with her would ever be okay.
I love me some Helen Mirren. No, she's no. If she was American, she'd be a national treasure. God bless her. She's great. I love that someone with the prestige of a Helen Mirren is like, a Fast and Furious movie. Don't mind if I do. Yes, she seems like the kind of person who you would run into while out and about in London and be like, "Hey, do you know where a good place to drink is?" And she'd be like, "Come with me. We're about to have a good time." Um, yeah,
True.
she straight up is. I love that she's in these movies. It's just like, yes, I'm here to play. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
How'd you
Go
feel
ahead.
about Ryan Reynolds' so fun character?
Okay, I have a theory. That right after this, they probably filmed this last in the movie. If I was a betting man, they probably filmed this last, and then they went to film. Oh, what
Oh,
was
that movie where he was like Free Guy? Is that it?
Not Free Guy, but
Oh,
they did a movie together. Red Notice. I don't know,
okay.
maybe it depends. They
I don't think I've
Ryan
heard of that one.
Reynolds, The Rock, and Gal Gadot all filmed a like action movie together, and it came out in 2021.
Oh, okay.
So it was definitely after this, but it's just they did a movie together, so I'm sure they had to have been filming it sometime close to that. But I don't know, the timeline's kind of not quite jiving. But whatever, maybe it is. I don't know, because these movies take forever to make, and the pandemic put everything on hold, so there's no telling.
Fair.
So, uh, but no, I liked Ryan Reynolds doing his Ryan Reynolds thing, and then uh, Todd shows up. Oh God, what's his name? I can never remember his dang old name. Todd from Deadpool 2, and his name is. Come on, I'll
I'm
get
sorry,
there.
don't ask me. Chris and I
And
have like recently he'll keep being like, "Do you not remember this character in Deadpool 2?" And I'm like, "Bro, I've watched it once and it feels like an eternity ago."
why
When
can I not remember this dude's name? Kevin Hart made a cameo, and he's even uncredited.
oh, dang.
And he had like a
He
whole
had a
scene and a half.
good
Why is
decent
he
bit.
uncredited?
Oh, that's sad.
Oh, jeez. All right, I gotta find this dude's name. This is gonna eat me alive. He
Sigh.
played Todd in the Deadpool movies, and his name is uh,
Blah, 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 blah.
man,
His
Rob
name is
Delaney. He was Peter, not Todd. Peter. Rob Delaney.
Peter.
Yes. Um, yeah, he showed up, and I know the only reason he showed up is because he played Peter in Deadpool 2, and Ryan Reynolds was like, I got a guy who's perfect for this spot. Let's throw him a bone. So, but it was cool. I have a lot of questions about these two logistical guys who are like, yes, we need you for a job, and the mysterious voice that Idris Elba is working for, because we don't know nothing about those characters, and I want to know more.
Fair.
So,
Yeah, the whole like he's basically just talking to a wall uh with Idris Elba was an interesting little concept and whatnot. I was just like, okay, normally, they just do like a single scream, but no, he walked into a whole room and the whole room is just like, yo, what's up?
yep. So, uh, I wrote in my notes, and I changed my opinion, much like you did, and we kind of talked on it. I put in my notes, The Rock and Statham have such good chemistry together, and I think before it started wearing on me, before
Yeah.
the constant bickering, I was like, man, this is kind of fun. And I think about 30 minutes after I wrote that note, I was like, oh Jesus, come on, guys, we get it.
Yeah.
You know,
Because that first scene where they like both see each other and they're like, no, we don't want to work together. I was like, yeah, classic banter for them to say they don't want to work together, but why are they in another glass setting? And then they do the whole thing, and it's like, oh, fake glass. Okay, perfect. I'm glad we all realized, hey, let's not put these two in a glass room again.
because they will break every pane of glass. The Rock even tried to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, I totally agree on like the whole bickering thing. Like some parts would be like, hee hee, you made such a cute little funny joke. And then after so long, you're just like, bro, it's like two like children brothers that are just children
Yep.
brothers. Sorry.
So the next kind of scene after this, when they're looking for um, Shaw's sister, we're looking for Casey, Carrie. Man, boy, am I terrible
Hattie.
with names. Hattie, yes, we're looking for Hattie. We get we get this a lot whenever our two main characters aren't on screen. We're cutting back and forth in between them fighting in fight scenes, and the it was wild because all the Jason Statham stuff seemed like so polished and moving and just bam, bam,
Right?
bam, bam, bam. And The Rock, while not necessarily bad, but The Rock is kind of just too lumbering. He's a big, strong, slow man. He's not. He's not like I'm gonna do a bunch of quick punches and do hop over stuff and all of this. And yeah,
Yeah. It's like,
it
you
was
know,
just
if The Rock throws a punch, it's gonna hurt, like, way worse than if, I guess, Jason Statham threw a punch.
right. But he's
But,
got to
like,
land
Jason
that
Statham
punch.
can, like, you know, easily maneuver things a lot easier.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
I also like all the, like, light work that was going on with Jason Statham's character of, like, those pretty lights. I don't
Yes,
know. It's just like a nice little touch for it
it
to be
was.
like, I guess, Hattie's apartment and him just being like, okay, let's find all the secret hiding spots. And he can just casually do that.
In the interrogation scene right after this, after they get Hattie back in the office, and Idris Elba shows up, and they do that scene where they rappel down the building.
Oh my God.
That was fun, but again, we are we're making The Rock so Hulk like in this moment, like so much so he did this jump where he's like, "Rah!" The only thing he was missing was him saying Hulk smash. He was all the most like had to have been a CGI, but CGI Rock was just brr, Hulk smash, Rock smash, brr.
Dude, I hope he absolutely said that on set. If
I
he
hope he
didn't,
did too.
just an absolute fumble. No, when I was watching that, literally just wrote, bro, what is The Rock on? Like, what is this? What is going on? That he's just like, I'ma just jump and like run on the walls and stuff. And then, you know, you got Jason Statham like, I'm just gonna take the elevator. This is the better idea. And then once again, the two of them just being like, hee hee, you're doing great, The Rock. So proud of you.
Yep.
But I'm gonna, mock you in every step of the way.
And I started. I don't even know if I did this for both sides, but when they show the POV of what Idris Elba's character is able to see, like the information that comes on the screen as they're getting ready to throw punches, I
Yeah.
wrote down. I wrote down that the Rock punches with a force of 1,235 pounds with a velocity of 13 meters per second. That means
Yeah.
he's moving. All right, he can do some damage. And I now that I think about it, I don't think I got Jason Statham's uh,
It was not
stats.
nearly as high. Because
Right,
I definitely like
clearly not.
noticed it, and then when The Rock came on, I was like, "What? That's insane." Yeah. Uh, Idris Elba's character had like a lot of interesting things to it. Like my man literally caught a car and just like pushed it off himself,
Yeah,
and the motorcycles. My God, these
the motorcycle.
motorcycle. That's what I'm talking about. Those things sounded like Transformers. Chris and I
They
literally were like,
did.
"What?" And the way that it would just like come to him like a good little dog.
Yep.
Nope. That's how you knew
That
we were on some crazy shit this movie.
that one the scene. It's in all the trailers and all of that. When that motorcycle transformed and he went underneath that 18-wheeler, I was like, "What the fuck are we doing?" Like for real, guys. Like we have a great chance here to like do this cool jump over a couple 18-wheelers. We could figure this out, but instead, no. We have a transforming motorcycle that even when it's thrown against a bus, it just transforms and gets right back up to it. And he whistles, and here it comes.
Yeah.
And this was kind of the point in the movie when I really just explosions and everything. and I kind of fell into the fast 8 of it all, where I was like, man, I mean, I'm kind of bored.
Dude, I wanted to take a nap during this movie. I'm not even joking. Like, we were an hour in, and I was like, bro.
Yeah. Oh, I got a spot where I had to pause the movie. We'll get to it later. But there was also this scene when Idris Elba is chasing them through London, or wherever it is. I think it's London. The biggest falsehood in this entire movie of metal spines and all this other nonsense. The biggest falsehood that happens was Jason Statham pulls up in his car and is like, "Hey guys, get in." And we're supposed to believe that The Rock and Vanessa Kirby both fit in the passenger seat of that ride.
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, I'm sorry, is The Rock in, like, the back seat? Because you could see brother and sister in, like, some shots, and I was like, okay, so, like, she's sitting right next to him. Where the heck is The Rock? And then you just see him, like, is she sitting on, like, the little console area? You know, that's the most uncomfortable,
Right.
like, entire thing. And I'm sure they shot this in, like, they were probably trying to get it done fast, because she's over there like, dude, The Rock is literally all up in my space. I have no air to breathe from all his muscles.
Oh, but they wanted to kiss. They were in love. They they didn't need to do the romantic thing. Um,
What are you talking about? Of course they did.
no, they didn't. Oh, I also wrote in my notes: does an Idris Elba wheelie count in place of a Dominic Toretto wheelie?
Ah, dude. I mean, no. Honestly,
No, it's not the
it's
same.
so funny. It's just so funny to watch Dominic do his stupid car wheelie. I love it so much. Um, no, but instead we get The Rock just punching his fist out a window to grab a guy and then, like,
I
smash
have
him
this in
into
my
the window.
notes too. This
That was I was like, "No, you're telling me
you know
that
what? I was
Shaw
kind of
would
on board
literally
with
just
that.
be like, yeah, no, that's fine. I don't care about my car like that."
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of on board with that. That was a really cool little effect. I know it was total nonsense, but I was like, I
That's when I
put
was
him,
like, "We're on that superhero shit."
yeah,
Oh my
because
god.
literally right after that, my note is, "Damn it, man! So we're transforming motorcycles. Are we even trying anymore?"
No.
Oh,
You want cool shit? I'll give you some cool shit. That's
oh
just what they
God.
did.
So, I'm genuinely upset that we don't get any information about the mysterious voice that is giving Idris Elba orders. Um, I have a feeling it might be Cypher, maybe, but I don't
That's
know.
fair.
Um,
Yeah.
because she shows up in later movies and she's not in a position to be given orders like that. So what are we doing? Um,
Movie magic. You don't have to think about it. Just keep watching. You
oh
want to talk about Mike Oxmall?
yes, literally the next words of my notes. Oh geez, Raven, we take similar notes. I love it so much.
God bless.
This movie is made for 14-year-old boys, and I'm not sure I'm really upset about that. Uh, this is this was the point in the movie when my brain said, you need to pretend you're a 14-year-old and this is the absolute greatest movie you've ever seen in your life. It's got The Rock punching people out of cars. It's got Jason Statham doing cool moves. It's got a pretty lady doing action things, and of course they have to make a joke, Mike Oxmall, and it's if I was 14, I would be in tears laughing so hard.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But then, the two of them get on the plane and she's like, I can't believe you did that. Like, even as a grown woman, she's like, bro, really? But then, you see him walk on the plane and he's just like, hey, how you doing? Hey, I love your babushka. At first, when he like first sat down next to that woman on the plane, I was like, that woman right now is so pissed that this big ass man has to sit right next to her. Like she literally like looks upset. And then he says that she's like, "Oh, okay, he's actually really nice. It's okay." Because of course it's trying to be like people like me, unlike you, you dumb British man.
I can tell you right now, as someone who's on the larger side who has to fly occasionally, I can tell you that sitting those airplanes small, or excuse me, words hard. Me speak again. Those airplane seats are not big enough to house the Rock. And
Right?
if I was to sit next to the Rock, me and him both would be super uncomfortable. I would be pressed up against the window, and we would be touching shoulders because both of us would be like just so scrunched up. Yeah.
You would just have to accept that you would have to cuddle with the Rock.
Yes. Yes. Um,
And then you
I
have,
like.
a fun party story.
What's that?
Then you have like a fun party story of just like, oh yeah, that time I cuddled with the Rock on a plane, and they're
That's
just
true.
people are just like, okay, yeah, whatever you say,
Whatever.
Mark.
No, you didn't. Yeah. Sure, you did the vanilla ice thing too.
Uh,
I love Kevin Hart's little scene here on the airplane too. Um, I thought it was just enough Kevin Hart.
right.
Just enough.
Sometimes you get a little too much Kevin Hart, but this was a good little bit, and I
It
like
what
his character in this
I liked his character too. I liked how he was just like, yeah, abracadabra, bitches. And I think that was the one dumb joke in this film that really legitimately made me laugh out loud.
one. Yeah, yeah. No, I just like that he's like, y'all better not start fighting, and then they were instantly like, ah, yes, air marshal. How do you know I'm an air marshal? And then they're like, this, and he's like, well, you're some form of, you know, military cop stuff, and then you're a spy, and they're just like, all right, whatever. Everyone else is asleep on this plane. Like every other person has their eyes shut, and the two of them are just like, we're gonna start fighting on this plane right now. I was just like, this, no. So having a silly little Kevin Hart just be like, I want to be a part of you guys. I got the hookups. Y'all want a helicopter? I got it. Uh, and then
Huh.
like right after that is we meet Margarita, but then my second note is kind of tired of all the constant bickering back and forth. I
Yeah.
think I definitely did not take nearly as many notes in this one because I was just like, uh, yeah,
So right after this, uh, we start infiltrating the base, and I again my dumb logistical brain interferes with me just enjoying a good time. Uh, my note reads like this. Okay, so they're infiltrating the base now, and they just attacked some lab people, and it dawned on me. Like they walk up and like they find these lab people, and they punch one of them out, and the other guy turns around and he starts trying to box with these people. And I was like, wait a second, is everyone on this base or in any lab for that matter in these movies or any action movie, are they like trained to fight first and then be a scientist? Because because
I mean, yeah,
the,
that's fair.
I mean, these lab people are just over here mixing chemicals or doing whatever they're doing, and then all of a sudden it's just like, hey, what? Pow, 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 pow. And surely not everyone in that complex could fight because it looks like they have a full on, full scale operation going on. So I cannot believe for the life of me that there's just like Brad in accounting is just sitting there one day going to the bathroom and he's just like, yep, wearing my uniform, whatever. And all of a sudden the Rock shows up out of nowhere. He's like, pow, pow, pow.
Uh,
Justice for Brad.
yeah, that was that's fair. I mean, those are the people that are on the outer corners of the base, and then you keep the really, really smart people that don't necessarily know how to fight, probably in that inner core. It's one of those things. You wouldn't
Yeah.
get it. You wouldn't get it. Anyways,
So after this, they get tied up. They break free. I'm kind of
okay,
blowing through this because
okay.
I
But the
don't.
shocking thing, do you think that they would have peed themselves? Like, do you think that the Rock at any point would have been like, "Oh man," because I feel like taking a lot of voltage to you would make your body do some things. You're telling
No,
me neither one of them would be like, "Whoops, something just
no,
happened."
because to get the muscles to show like that, you got to be dehydrated. Plus, The Rock cannot contractually pee himself.
Okay, fair enough.
No,
I guess it makes sense.
but I do like this next little set of scenes that we get with them busting out of the complex. Most notably, this scene where they're driving whatever kind of vehicle this is that looks like a Tesla truck.
I'm glad you said that because I kept being like, "Man, this is like if a Jeep and a Tesla truck had like a baby." And Chris was like, "Stop! I don't want to think about that."
Dude, this is a warthog from Halo is what this is. I saw this and my first thought was, "Oh, we're doing Halo now." Literally, Jason Statham is driving. The Rock is hanging off the side with a machine gun. Just brrrr. The Hattie jumps off the thing, lands on the thing. They're going. It looks like they are driving the Warthog in. Hey, I'm pretty sure it's the Warthog. Get in the comments. I don't know. But whatever their SUV all terrain Tesla truck that they have in Halo is, they're going through the thing. They come up. It is Halo. I don't care what anyone says.
Sure, I'm
I
not going
mean,
to disagree with you.
and then they keep going from set piece to set piece. This thing's flipping over. The Rock is shooting guns. They swap cars and change Hattie in cars, and Hattie and the Rock share a look. And then they keep going, and the thing's flipping over, and bow, 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 bow. And we're like, oh man, we got to get out of here. Where are we gonna go? Let's go to Samoa. What'd you think about Samoa, Raven?
It was pretty.
It was pretty and filled with WWE wrestlers.
For real. When she was like, family, I was like, how many of these are your kids? There are so many big ass men in this
I
fucking family. I don't care if it's your cousins, what? It seemed like she was the only woman there, and there's just so many big buff men. I was like, all right,
they
I'm
pull up
sure
to
she
this
feels
house.
like hella. Dang it, I just lost my train of thought.
They pull up to this house in the middle of nowhere. And then once everything settles down, they show up to this garage in the middle of nowhere. And they're talking about, oh yeah, we do all these custom stuff and we do all this thing. I don't know anything about Samoa, but it really seems like they're out in the middle of nowhere. Again, my dumb infrastructure brain is like, where are they getting electricity and supplies and all of this stuff? Like, who's coming out to the middle of nowhere to get their car modified by these guys?
Oh,
This,
They've made a name for themselves. They probably have an Etsy and an Instagram to promote it.
They have to. Have to. Um,
Sorry. Oh, stupid.
let's see. Um, da, 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 da. Oh, what? How is it? How is it that we have all of these Samoan and Hawaiian actors in this scene in this movie, and we don't have Jason Momoa?
Dude, you know
I
that
don't.
man was busy as heck. He was like,
I
I ain't got time for this shit right now.
maybe, but I guess it would be weird if he showed up in this scene because he shows up in a later movie. So,
See,
it would be kind of weird.
maybe they had reached out to him, was like, hey, we've got a proposition for you. Sorry, I'm a little busy, but I'll still come through. Put me in one of those movies. You know? Could be that.
Yep. So, did you feel when The Rock and Hattie are drinking beers, staring out over the ocean in Samoa, the wind's blowing, the sun's setting, it's all romantic? Do you feel like that kiss was earned? Because I absolutely did not.
No.
I was
And
like,
then when he was
The
like,
Rock exercised his producer muscles on this one.
he really was like, you want to like really confirm it? I was like, bro, that's the most typical man shit that I have ever heard. I literally looked at Chris and was like, that's something you would say. And now he's looking, now Chris is
See,
looking at me upset, like, damn.
see, a 14-year-old boy, a 14-year-old boy. This is the perfect movie for a 14-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Because he'd be like, whoa, they have so much chemistry.
right. All right, so we do this whole prep thing and all of this other stuff, and here's the part when I think I'd finally had enough of this entire movie. My notes read like this. So The Rock went and took his shirt off, coated himself in baby oil, and put on a Samoan outfit. And I swear I paused it to make this note, and if the next thing he does is a haka, I'm turning this movie off. Literally literally 30 seconds later, Idris Elba shows up and all the Samoans pop up out of the ground and they start doing a haka. And I was like, bloop. I was like, well, they started doing a haka. I guess this means I got to turn it off for, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. I'll come back to it. But I'm a man of my word.
God bless. Yeah, that was such a interesting scene. Because he's like, Mom, where are all the guns? I don't like guns. I got all these big buff guys. What do I need a gun for? Especially if they're living out in the middle of nowhere. Like, be for real, man. But yeah, that was, you know, that they were like, we've got to put this in there, right? We're like contractually supposed to do this, right? Okay, we'll go ahead and do it.
And why did we transition from pitch black dark to like full on noon sun is shining in like 5 minutes?
Mark, if you've never had a battle in your life, you know that your real life battle goes from the darkest pits of night to noon
I
within the
mean, we're
blink of an eye.
we're not trying to storm Gondor here. We're trying to defend a rickety auto shop in Samoa from Idris Elba and a bunch of technological and I don't even know what to say here. Like this is so wild to me because we really at this point I'm just exhausted with this movie. We get the the it comes to daytime and then we're going around the edge of the island and they've done set all these traps, so it's just boom 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 explosions. Oh my god, what are we gonna do? And then we watch Hattie completely just kick ass this entire movie. And then at the end, it's like, oh no, I'm kidnapped. What am I gonna do? Um, and
What a woman.
yeah,
Always getting kidnapped. You can't leave these women around.
oh.
Uh,
And in true Fast and Furious fashion, it's like we jump a hill, we throw a chain, we throw a tow chain over a helicopter. That's some Fast and Furious shit right here. This is what I put in my notes.
man, I saw that and I was just like, all right, there it is. There's where we're reminded, hey, you are watching a Fast and Furious franchise thingy.
And then for some reason, all of these cars have nitrous in them. Again,
Stand Nos.
it was like at this point where at the end of the movie and the director hadn't checked off all his Fast and Furious like tropes that he has to do. He's like, ah shit, we got to shoot a nitrous scene. Ah shit, we got to shoot a damn a truck jumping over and putting a tow chain on a helicopter. And the Rock's got to do is I got to hold a chopper in something else scene like Captain America. And this
Yeah. Yeah. That's when you're just like, all right, I'm checked out at this point. I feel like I definitely did. I was like, all right. Oh, we're just watching just
and
a bunch
and
of stuff
and
at
then
this
the
point.
helicopter crashes in this weird ravine in the middle of nowhere. It starts lightning and storming like instantly. And we get this I don't know. This is kind of cool, like a cool little scene where we're, the Rock, the end scene with the Rock and Jason stuff. I mean, it's just a real big action set piece. And you know what? I'm okay. I mean, it was fun. Like the slow motion punches were really good. You knew how the movie was going to end. They started working together. Guys, look at how much they can accomplish when they work together. They can do slow motion punches. It's great. And then they said something. Jason Statham says a line about, I don't know, maybe he meant his military brothers now that I think about it. But he said, you made me kill my brother. And my initial thought was, when did he kill his brother? And now that I'm talking about it, now that I'm just kind of thinking about it secondhand, maybe he meant like his military brothers. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't
Eh.
know. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Because literally right after this, the movie ends. We kill him. It's like the voice in the machine is like, I'll see you later. And then it cuts to credits with The Rock showing back up to Samoa with his daughter. Jason Statham's doing Jason Statham stuff. And everyone's just like, okay, cool. Well, I guess we're getting credits? Like, it really seems like it ends very abruptly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, life goes on, Mark.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do. You just gotta be like, well, that was crazy.
Well,
So anyways, I know I haven't been here in a while, but you do have a granddaughter. So
yeah.
let me go grab her real quick.
Did you guys hear about these things they're doing with magnets over the States? I gotta go. No. And we get a Ryan Reynolds post-credit scene.
I think they're closed. He's just sitting in this restaurant. Sir. Dude, I love the fact that Ryan Reynolds has that matching tattoo of The Rock's tattoo, and he's like, you don't remember when we got these matching? But you see, like, that The Rock's family, like, all have very similar tattoos, and I'm just like, bro.
Right.
I love this delusional, just happy guy.
So
Let's have him in the movie more.
We should. So you and Chris watched this together, right?
Yes.
Did Chris do a family count in this movie?
No, he literally was like, I'm not going to do it this round. I don't know if it's going to really happen. And I was like, that's fair.
Dude, they said family more times in this movie than I think they did in 8.
Did they?
I think so. Because it came mainly from like Shaw's family. because he was every time they talked to Queenie, they were like, "Oh yeah, your family this and family that," and he's like, "Oi, my family is messed up," and all these things. And then when we get to Samoa, The Rock is like, "Oi, my family," and I don't know why The Rock all of a sudden was almost British there for a second, but yeah, they're like, "Oh, family, 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 family," and I was just curious if Chris did a family count this time,
Hmm.
but I
Look
don't
it
know.
up. Oop, what is this? Someone made a little chart of it. I'm trying to look. It looks like they said it 15 times in this movie, if this little chart is correct.
Okay.
Which Fate of the Furious was 17 or something like that. So yeah, that's interesting.
All
Okay.
right. Well, you got anything? You got anything else to talk about Hobbs and Shaw before we move on?
Now, I think we have discussed the discussion.
I think we have to. All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about my favorite part of the week. We are thankful and we talk about the things, the little joys in life, big, small, indifferent, whatever. Please tell me, Raven, what has made you happy this week?
Silence.
Absolute. I was like, oh man, did I lose you?
No, I just had to like. I was just like, man, my thing is like so repetitive that I'm just like, we go off, we see people we like, we, whatever. But that really was just like what we did. We went. We had plans that I was supposed to go groom one of our friend's dogs back home, but house ended up getting a virus, so they were like, "Come back next week." I was like, "Perfect, we'll be in town next week anyways." But we had already made plans to see my grandparents and go hang out with our former boss and have dinner with her and stuff. So we just did that, and it was nice to like, of course, see my grandparents and see my favorite little puppies that love me oh so much until I clip their nails, and then they're like, "Sissy is so mean. We hate her now. Let's go hide." And I'm like, "You little punk." But yeah, we went to Champy's, that lovely little chicken place
Oh, I
that
love Champions.
yes, um, it was wonderful. It was so good. I love Champy's so much. If you guys, anyone that listens to this podcast, if you are ever Chattanooga, go to Champy's. They have wonderful chicken. The reason I suggested it to our friend Helen was because that woman is obsessed with pickles, and I was like, dude, we can get the fried pickle spears, and they were amazing. I literally burned the roof of my mouth on like the first bite I took, and I was like, I don't care, worth it. So yeah, that's a nice little. I also did like hang out with another friend that Chris technically works with, but every time we get together, we our thing has really been that we go and get Mexican food on like Tuesdays to do Taco Tuesday, and then we will sit in the restaurant for like 2 or 3 hours, just like having a great time, just gabbing. So yeah, I guess my like thing that's really made me this happy this week is just like, hey, look at you! You went out and did some human interaction with people you really like. Way to go! I'm proud of you for that. Get that little bit of serotonin where you can.
Yeah.
How about you? What's made you happy this week?
Oh man, I got to I got to sit with Amy yesterday, and we got to plant our some tomato plants and some potatoes, and we planted us a little
Ooh.
pepper plant. And I am so excited to see how these things how they do this year, because usually Kelly is the one who gets the stuff and plants it, and I just come out there like every day or so and water them. This is the first year that all of this is kind of on me. So I'm really just I'm really excited. I really want the potatoes to work more than just about anything. I really want the tomatoes to work too, because I love homegrown tomatoes. They taste so much better than store bought. So I really just can't wait. So we'll keep it up. Also, I forgot to mention this. You don't even know this, but
Ooh.
Amy said, hey, because we've been tossing around the idea of letting me grow out my facial hair for a while, and Amy finally got on board with it. She was like, you can grow it out until my birthday, and then we'll shave it off. And I was like, okay, cool. So now I'm going on almost 2 weeks since I've shaved, and this is literally the longest I've ever gone in my entire life without shaving. It's very weird.
Ooh.
And yeah, I'm going for the full beard. It's wild. It's wild.
When is Amy's birthday?
April 22nd. We got a whole
Okay.
month.
All right.
So, but she's kind of like digging it. And
Ooh.
I'm like, "Oh, so you're going to let me keep it after your birthday?" She's like, "Probably." I'm like, "Oh, cool." So, but
That is very. No, keep going.
I'm at the stage now where it's sticking straight out, like it hasn't
Yeah.
started going down. So it's very kind of itchy, and I'm just constantly just petting my face, just and because I genuinely have no frame of reference for a mustache or a beard or anything like that in my 44 years on this planet, it's coming in salt and pepper. So
Nice.
yeah.
Oh, Chris is gonna be so upset when he hears this.
Why's this?
Dude, he is obsessed with the fact that you got Danny's gene of the black hair that turns white, that you're gonna get the salt and pepper. He's like, man, I got my mom's blonde hair. Maybe it'll turn stark white. I'm like, buddy, no.
Oh, well, I mean, shit. He's like, what? How old is he? 32.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Like, just wait. Just wait. Like, tell him to get really stressed out over the next 10 years. All his hair will turn gray. And then he'll grow it out and it'll be nice and white.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Until I'm over there like, you know what? Let's color your hair. This would be fun. And then he's like, you're right. I would rather have fun, colorful hair than stark white hair.
He says that now. I'm gonna take a picture of it and send it to you guys, and I'm gonna be like, look at my salt and pepper beard with the white mustache.
Ooh, the white stash. Nice.
So, Raven, tell everybody where they can find you on the social medias.
You can find me on Instagram at That's a Raven Ellis, or I hang out on Twitter at super_Raven. Find this cute little podcast that we do on whatever form of social media that you probably do at Nerd for No Reason. Mark, what about you?
You can find me on just about all social medias at Turtles Do It. I'm there. I'm happy to talk to you. I love all of you. Keep checking us out through all the means that you're doing it. It is super great getting stats back. YouTube is still killing it. You guys apparently really love Fast and Furious 8. Like this is become a wild social experiment for me. So yeah, just keep listening. Like we love it. We love that you guys are checking it out, that you're viewing our stuff, listening to our stuff. It's great. You keep it up, and we can continue to make good, fun stuff for you guys. Yeah. I can't wait for next week. Next week, Fast and Furious 9. Raven's already watched it. I still got to watch it again. Raven, real quick, Fast and Furious 9. Overall thoughts. What do you got?
Uh, I think that I was like, man, I'm not in. Well, actually, I don't. I might have to rewatch it. I have the brain of a baby. I don't know, man. Oh yeah. We get to see John Cena.
Yeah, we do.
Just kidding, because you can't see him.
Oh!
Whoa!
God, I can't believe you did that at the same time. All right,
Perfect.
everybody, go and do something wonderful in the world today.
You guys go ingest all the coolest new medias, and we'll see you again next week at the Nerd for No Reason podcast, right here, right then. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you for listening to the Nerd for No Reason podcast. You can find us on all major social media platforms at Nerd for No Reason. Our podcast music is Memories in 8-Bit by Deanna Joan, aka Fergie's Human. You can follow her on Twitter at Deanna Joan Music and check out her other social media links in the show notes of our podcast.